Hello, everyone. My name is Lee Sora, and I want to tell you about the persecution of my parents and their protection. I live in South Korea. Everything was fine with me until my grandfather suddenly took it into his head to decide my fate. Did I say that I have an excellent candidate for your husband? My eyes nearly popped out of my head, but my mother held me back. She bowed to grandfather politely and said that we'd not yet considered the idea of marriage since I was still too young. Did I say that I could easily re-educate even the most stubborn person? Not. My grandfather stood up from his chair and shouted, "Lee Sora, you will be engaged to this man. Otherwise, I will deprive your father of all his fortune, work, and make sure that he receives pennies for the rest of his life. Do you wish him such a fate?" When I got home, a plan formed in my head. After waiting for my parents to fall asleep, I took an alarming bag with cash, bank cards, and documents. It was easy to escape. I got on a bus and went to another place, switching off my phone. While I was thinking on the road, I fell asleep and woke up from the fact that someone sat next to my seat. The guy seemed suspicious, in a black jacket, a hood, and glasses, although it was dark outside. I was scared, so I got off the bus at the bus stop and hurried away with my bag to a crowded place. I walked in an embrace with my backpack, and by chance, in my peripheral vision, I saw that guy. Was he following me? I hurried, first increasing my speed, and then I ran, and he followed me. I wanted to take my phone to call the police, but it wasn't there. Damn. Are you looking for this? What? My phone? Where? You dropped it on the bus. Damn, I had to run 2 blocks to give it to you. Oh, thank you. I'm so ashamed. What, you thought I was a maniac? Well, yeah, kind of. Listen, I'm too handsome to be a thief, or a maniac for that matter. How do I know if you're handsome or not? You're wearing glasses and a hood, and it's dark outside in case you didn't notice. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, my eyes just hurt. Still not used to the Korean lighting at night. He took off his accessories, and then I was glad we were talking. I had such a crush on him. Well, wow. He introduced himself as Han Ji-hoo, and I introduced myself as Yoon Yu-ra. Just in case, I withheld my name for my own safety. Well then, something happened that decided my fate. A stranger rode by on a motorcycle and stole my bag. Understanding my hopeless situation, in order to somehow calm me down, Ji-hoo invited me to spend the night in his brother's apartment next door. We ate the spiciest ramen with egg and kimbap and drank beer. God, it was unrealistically delicious. From the conversation, I learned that my crush came from Kiruna, Sweden, a city where almost all the time is twilight. That's why he wore glasses everywhere. After 4.5 hours of talking and drinking, I began to yawn and didn't even notice I fell asleep on the spot. In the morning, I woke up from the fact that the phone rang. I wanted to turn it off and only then realized that I lay right on Ji-hoo, who was looking at me with wide-open eyes. At that moment, I jumped away from him, getting out of the bed. In short, I spent a wonderful day with him, walking to the market for groceries, watching movies. There was such a spark between us. Toward evening, I said I needed to go to the pharmacy to buy something. I asked him to stay at home and went by myself. But upon returning, I saw some people in black suits knocking on our door. I hid in the foyer and eavesdropped. I got the message, "Don't come home," on my phone. I turned around and ran towards the exit, again running out into the street, when I saw a car in front of me. I didn't even have time to figure out how they put a bag on my head and loaded me into a car. We arrived somewhere and they pulled me out. A man was sitting in front of me. He showed me a photo of me and Ji-hoo walking together during the day and going into the room last night. My son has a fiancé, and it's very bad that you're living with him weeks before his wedding. Who are your parents? I don't need to talk about that. You kidnapped me. Listen, girl, I don't want to mess with you. Just tell me where you live and I'll take you home and talk to your dad myself. Well, you're unlucky. I don't have one. Are you an orphan? You could say that. That means there's no one to complain to. Even better. He got up and was about to go somewhere when I shouted, "Okay, stop. I won't interact with your son anymore. Your son just helped me. He saved me from trouble. I don't expect anything from him, just like he expects nothing from me." The man again asked for my father's phone number, and I dictated my mother's number so it wouldn't fly in so hard. At this time, those guys from the lobby came running in and said, "Sir, your son's not there. Someone took him away. Our people have already gone after his car." The man got angry, and they put me back in that same car. A strange situation has come out. Someone's following you, so I'll trade you for my son. I'm sorry if I scared you." "What? What's going on anyway?" We arrived at that place. I was pulled out of the car and I suddenly heard the voices of my father and mother. My eyes were untied and Ji-hoo was standing in front of me, surrounded on both sides, and next to him were my parents. "Yura? Ji-hoo? Sora? Taejun? What? What?" And everyone had questioning faces. Oh yeah, so they finally let us go, and Ji-hoo and I, or rather Taejun and I, confessed our real names. It turned out that we both ran away from our parents in protest of our engagement of convenience. He was my fiancé, and I was his bride. The guards of my father and his father have been watching us all day since that evening, and they understood that some guy stole me, and some girl took Taejun away. So the acquaintance between our families began strangely, right? Hello, everyone. I'm Gracie, and one day my mom sold me to the royal family. In fact, we already knew them many years ago. Just at some point, life threw us into poverty and they forgot about us. But then this family unexpectedly offered me a job to pretend in public that I was their adopted daughter, for which they promised a generous fee. Mom and I thought about everything and made a decision. A couple of days later, I arrived at this pretentious mansion in Britain. The main condition was not to communicate with my mother and in every possible way to show how happy I was to live in their exemplary family. They try to show themselves off by adopting a girl from a dysfunctional family. In the meantime, we, smiling, gave interviews, but behind the scenes, inside the house, things were completely different. Food flew at me. Once broccoli got stuck in my hair. My stepmother threw it at me. She was angry that in the pictures next to me, she looked old, as if that was my fault. My stepfather stupidly ignored all my questions, and then their daughter, my ex-friend Holly, well, she was, to put it mildly, a bitch. I knew that Holly was terribly jealous. Even as a child, she had everything a girl could dream of. Beautiful dresses, shoes, phones, a chic room, and a bunch of professional photos. But we had something in common. We both loved to dress up, to paint, to dress. It brought us closer. Of course, now I borrowed her dresses, but they suited both of us. She always said the makeup perfectly hides the puffiness of her face and under her eyes due to the poor functioning of both her kidneys. You have a lot of money. Why don't you just get a transplant? You'd be surprised, Grace, but even with the kind of money my family has, you can't just go out and find a donor. There is one person in mind, though. It seems that her DNA matches mine perfectly, and the risk of rejection is minimal. Wow, who's that? For now, I can't say. It's confidential. I felt sorry for her at some point, and I became her friend again. While we were reestablishing our connection, screams and beatings continued in the house. Yes, her parents fought each other. At first I was surprised, but then I just got used to it. Holly watched the whole process. We entered the monitoring room with cameras installed throughout the home. I asked, "Do you have access here?" And Holly said, "Yeah, I'm watching everything around here. I watch to see which parent is wrong. I made my own keys a long time ago. They don't even know I always carry them in my pocket." Meanwhile, my mother, as I was told, received a fee for me, and I was given branded items. But all this didn't compensate for my loneliness in this frenzied family. I was saved only by our long-thought-out plan, to which I aspired. Now I'll tell you about it. During the next quarrel, I saw how in the owner's office, he again swore at his wife. She demanded money. He opened the safe and took out several fat packs. Wow, I said to myself. How much money was in there? The hostess took them and left the room while I hid around the corner. Then my friend came up behind me. Damn, it wasn't good that she caught me there. But Holly didn't guess anything. She just began to cry, worrying about her parents. First, I took my stepmother to her room, and then my friend to hers, and brought her a drink. And then I took tea to my stepfather. Both fell asleep soundly after 10 minutes. Great, my sleeping pills worked. I stole the keys to the monitoring room from Holly's pocket and erased the extra tapes, left the right one, and turned off the cameras. Then I returned the keys and stole almost all the money. I took them back to the car, which was already parked at the house. It was my mom. "Mom, I'm here. Open the door. Are you all set?" Of course, the parents quarreled. The stepmom was dumped. There's a video of them arguing, and he pulls out the money and gives it to her. After their loss, if they threaten us, I'll show what kind of real relationship they have in the family for the entire press. Their daughter's so dumb that she gave me all the passwords for the cameras and showed me where the keys are. My girl, sit down. And then something incredible happened. We left, but we were abruptly slowed down on the territory of the mansion. The stepmother was on the road. She was smiling, and Holly and her father came out from behind her. They showed me another camera that I didn't know about, where everything was shown as it was. My heart sank. What do you need? My stepmother came up to us, stood by the car, and said, "You thought you were the smartest here? Do you think we hired you for PR? Ha! How stupid! We don't need that, but what we do need is your kidney. Everyone will now think that you decided to give it away in gratitude to our family. That's all, dear. We don't mind that you stole our money. Let your mother take it. It's the price for a healthy kidney for our Holly. You wanted to cheat? It didn't work out. Horror pierced me to the bone. They pulled me out of the car, and the worst thing is that my mother just left. Now I'm sitting locked up, contemplating a new plan. I hope to see you guys again. Give me a like and wish me luck. Knock, knock. It seems they're coming after me.